Version 2 of the M Audio Oxygen Pro Premium preset allows you to open up virtual instruments, change presets, we can close, we can go to another virtual instrument, open it up. In this case, a flex, you select a preset, you can go down your different ones, you can select it. We can also go over to the different categories, okay? Then you go back over, select the piano, another preset. If you have your plugins set up for hands-on mixing, this is how fast it would be. We can literally just open up the plugin, get hands-on mixing, and close it. If you want to learn more about my M Audio Oxygen Pro Premium preset, keep watching this video. It shows you everything about how to install it, how to use it, and what's to come in the future with it. All right, hey everyone, GratuiTous here. In this video, I have updated the M Audio Oxygen Pro Premium template. We're going to walk through how it works, and this version 2 of the template is focusing on changing the presets off of the first 8 drum pads, all right? So if you have purchased, you can just log into your account, go to the download section, and you can download the new version. And if you are a new customer, when you purchase, this is what you're going to get, okay? So you're going to get a zip file, just right-click it, extract it, and then you have this folder. Here is the instructions. I highly recommend reading it. We have both MIDI scripts and a template. For the MIDI scripts, there is now 2 MIDI scripts. If you have purchased, this is required if you select the preset version. I'll explain that in just a second. So let's go back quickly. So here is the Oxygen Pro presets. There is now 2 versions. So there is a version 1, which was the default version. It got your sliders, your knobs, your drum pads, and all your different banks working. Click right here to learn about what version to use. Right down here, I have laid out the drum pads. So as you can see, it would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, and 6. And then you can see down here, so 0 is 0 down here, 1 is 1 down here, like 5 is 5 down here. And I've also set up these 2 arrows to be used as well. It just focuses the channel rack and it focuses the mixer. So let me just walk through how to quickly install it, and then we will go into FL Studio and I'll show you how to use it. Now, to install a MIDI script, all you have to do is go to Documents, Image Line, FL Studio, Hardware, okay? And you are going to be presented with this folder. All you have to do is, if I just delete this one, you just right-click, let go copy, and it's installed. That is your MIDI script installed, okay? To install the Oxygen Pro presets, what you're gonna do is you need to, for either of these, you have to have the M Audio Oxygen Pro software manager. You get this by logging into your M Audio account and registering your Oxygen Pro. So I just wanna first come here and I wanna restart the setup wizard. I wanna walk through how to set this up. So I've plugged in my Oxygen Pro. As you can see, I have it right here, it's turned on. It says connect your MIDI keyboard. And then I'm going to go next. Be careful here. If you want this stuff, you can enable it, but they have all this stuff enabled by default, which I don't like. And what happens is it'll auto install it for you. So I'm going to go next because in my case, I don't use it. I don't want any of the software. So it would be nice if they would just have like a remove all and enable all kind of button. Because now, as you can see, I have to click through all these and remove them. But again, if you want them, you can install them. I believe that they're all free. And so now what you need to do from here is you're going to go to the settings and you actually have to enable show advanced software. I did not have a checkbox here. So if you don't, just click there and it should enable for you. You need advanced software enabled because then you can have your Oxygen Pro editors under the apps section, okay? So for whatever model you have, I have the 49 version. Make sure to install the 49 editor. If you have the 61, install the 61 editor, okay? And then I'm just gonna open up, in my case, the 49. So this is the preset editor. This here is the software manager, okay? And then I also found out you can actually download the firmware from the software manager. I believe this is a new feature as well. All right, so how this works is we load the file into the preset editor. We have to send it into the MIDI keyboard, and then off of the MIDI keyboard, we actually have to select the preset in order to install it, okay? So this works for both the preset version and the default version. Again, the default version is not changing presets off the drum pads. The preset version uses the first 8 drum pads to change presets. I'm just gonna go File, we're gonna go Load. If this window pops up, you can just come here, go copy, Control C, and then you can just go Control V. If the other style of window pops up, you can also come here to the file name and you can paste that in as well and go Open, and it will bring you to the to the folder location nice and fast. So there we go. Here's the preset version. Now the 49 version and the 61 version both use the same file. The 25 uses its own file, and same with the MIDI. So I'm going to go open. You can see that we've loaded it in, but now we need to send it into the MIDI keyboard. So I'm going to go File. I'm going to go Send Preset. Now, I just put it on preset 1 for convenience because I don't use any of the built-in presets. But if you do, I believe 9 to 16 are for the user. But I would recommend just overriding preset 1. We're going to go Send. It says it's been successful. Now what we're going to do is we are going to go onto the MIDI keyboard itself. So on the MIDI keyboard, just hold on the preset button. You're going to see it loads up your different presets, right? And this is the reason why I said just put it to number 1, because it's right there for you. It's going to be labeled Grat. Just push in the push to knob, enter, and now the preset is loaded up, okay? One thing I'll just quickly say is when we come back to here, so there is the preset and the DAW mode. So again, make sure that you are on preset as you are installing that template. And then again, when we come back to the MIDI keyboard, again, you hold this down, you select it to select the preset, but also when you turn on the MIDI keyboard, it's going to be in DAW mode. Just when you turn it on, you just got to make sure to hit preset mode. It's kind of just a little workaround. DAW mode is buggy in FL Studio. Preset mode works really, really good. So now we have to install these MIDI scripts. So this one goes on MIDI in 3. This one goes on the Oxygen Pro. If I hit F10, which is our shortcut to the menu, or you go to Options, and here's your MIDI settings. Here's F10. So this is how it looks for the install, okay? So for the MIDI in 3, this is what you guys have always been doing for the free one. This is the Oxygen Pro V2. So MIDI in 3 does our transport buttons on the Oxygen Pro. And then the Oxygen Pro right here, you can see it has dash plugins. So from here, you're just going to go plugins. And again, make sure they're both enabled. And that's it. You don't need to set any port numbers or anything like that. Now your Oxygen Pro is now installed and it's all set up. So again, you guys can always be looking here. So usually this is always in the top left of FL Studio. I've been trying this single bar, and so far it's been pretty cool. It just gives a little bit more space vertically in FL Studio. And so this is how it works, okay? So let me just load up a couple virtual instruments. So the first thing I'll show you is what I've done is these arrow keys on the side allow you to focus between the channel rack. So the top one does the channel rack and the bottom one does the mixer. And so for example, if you somehow close out of these windows, you can see it'll open it up and it does not close those windows. This layout, and I'll just show you that quickly, this is by far the best FL Studio layout that I have experienced in all my years of making beats. So I have the channel rack up here, I have the mixer down here, and I have the playlist. If you want the playlist big, you can just hit enter, and this is a really fast workflow, okay? You can also see, I personally do not like the panel picker. So, you know, the panel picker is here. I just find it takes up so much space on the screen. It works really good and it's really useful, but I just find that because I know a lot of like the keyboard shortcuts, for example, to switch through patterns, I just use like my number pad. You can see up here. I find that this right here is the best layout. Again, these arrows, the top one does the channel rack, the bottom one does the mixer. And why that's useful, so for example, if I hit into the channel rack, we can go up and down on the channel rack. We can hit enter to open up the preset. We can also close from here as well. If we want to go to the mixer, you just hit the bottom arrow and you can see that we can actually go between our different inserts. And I've set it up so that the top right pad goes through the plugins from to the right way. And then if you go hit the other pad, it actually goes through them to the left. And if you want to close them, you can hit escape and then you just keep hitting tab and then you can close them, okay? So now I want to go back to the channel rack. So I'm going to hit this arrow. Now let me just zoom in just a little bit just so that you can get a better visual experience of just the drum pads. So if I talk about switching to channel rack to mixer, I'm just using those arrow keys, all right? So again, let's just start at the very, very first one. So the first one is the sampler. It does not work in here, but I still have it so you can still open it up and you can still close it. You can hit down, okay? And so this one goes up. This one goes down, and that's the same for the mixer. Here is right and then left. I tried to keep that same workflow. So we can go down, we're going to go open up. Here is FL keys. If I want to change the preset, new preset, new preset. All right, and so the reason why I decided to do the drum pads is it's faster and quieter. The drum pads, watch how quiet. All right, if I want to close it, we just hit this drum pad right here, the fourth one. Remember, it's just the first 8 drum pads that you have to learn. And there you go. So let's go Nexus. Let's open it up. How Nexus works is, again, I'm just going to open it up from here, there. And so you can see how it has the blue outline, and this allows us to go between our presets nice and easy. So watch, I can just select it. Now, some presets, it automatically selects for you for that fast workflow. For something like this, where there's a lot of choices, I set it up so you can go up and down, and then you hit enter. So this one is always enter, okay? We can also go to the next category by using the top buttons. So we go left and then we go right, okay? So for example, let's say you want to go down to dance, then we're going to hop back into, let's say, categories. Let's say you want like a lead in dance, or you just go all, and again, we can hop back to the presets, and you just go down, okay? So let's just, and you can also hold it down, okay? So if you hold it down, you can also go through them a little faster, okay? So, and then again, you can just select it. Okay, to close it, we're just going to hit that. There you go. That was Nexus. Here is Flex. Now I've set up Flex just like Nexus, and I'll explain that. So for example, if you go down, you can see you can go through your different presets, and it does not auto select, which is nice because sometimes if you select it, it takes time to load depending on which one you're going through. So you can see I'm going through like the columns now, and I can actually go back over. We can go up and down. So now, one thing just to say is if we click outside of Flex, you can see that this is not highlighted and it will not work, okay? So you actually have to be clicked into Flex. That would be nice if FL Studio would update Flex whenever you open it up. It always highlights, so you can see the yellow line underneath. If I hit this one to go to the next column, you can see now I'm in packs. Now I'm in presets, so packs, presets. So if you want to come here, you can come up here to this one. We are going to go to the next. Then we can come down, right? And then you can select and, right? Now, if you don't want to be able to adjust the columns, if you just want to be able to use your mouse, maybe select one and then just go through a preset nice and fast, here is how you set that up. So here in the presets, I'll just double click it. And right here, you can see remove flex for basic preset change. All you'd have to do is just remove this, save it. That would allow the presets to change like normal. But again, I set up flex like this the way how I wanted. But again, it's up to you if you want to remove flex. I found I kind of wanted it to be like the Nexus workflow of being able to switch between the columns. But again, make sure you are actually focused in order to do that, okay? If it's not focused, for example, if we click on the wrapper, you can see that it's not going to work. Whereas the other way will always change a preset, but you're not able to go to the columns, okay? All right, let's close out of Flex. We will go down. Here is Serum. Now, some third-party plugins are not able to switch right away. Now, you can do this in Serum. You have to go into like the config file and stuff, but I just found that this is like the easiest way. So you can come up here and you just select one, and then again, you just go up and down, and this will allow you to change your presets. And you can even see over here, you have like your filter. So if you just want to go through bass or like whatever you want to do. So again, we can close it off of the drum pad. Here is Citrus. This is an example of not a third-party plugin. You can just hit a drum pad and it changes for you. Okay. And again, so you can see how it has all these different presets. So if I select one, we play it. Put another one. And so there you go. You can go back and you can go forward. And then to close it, again, we're just going to hit this. Let's check out Silence 1. We can open that up. So right now you can see we have nothing in our bank. So everything is on initial, which is just this sound. You actually have to load up a bank. And again, you can go through them nice and fast. All right, so I've tried to set these up for a good workflow in the plugins that I use. You know, I'm not able to test all the third-party plugins out there. Sometimes what happens is if you open up a plugin and you hit escape, sometimes it closes the channel rack. And so that's the reason why I set it up where if you hit the one arrow, it opens up the channel rack, all right? And then how this works now, and I'll share this off of the mixer, okay? So when you come to the mixer insert, right now, there is kind of like a limitation with the MIDI scripting, When that gets updated, I'll be sure to update the Oxygen Pro to get hands-on, because right now when it comes to opening up plugins, it's a little tricky. We have to open up all the plugins if you want to use them. But if you set these up for hands-on mixing, as you can see, I have all this stuff already set up, and it's incredibly powerful, right? Like, you know, I can get hands-on mixing right out of the box. But how this works is what I did was this button right here I have as tab. And in the instructions, what I've explained to you is because of the limitation right now, I set it up so this is just doing tab right. It's no different than hitting like your keyboard tab, but how I have it set up where if we're hitting it, we're hitting tab. Now tab will no longer work. And as you can see, if we hold a lot of these buttons, if you hold them down, it's actually telling you what they're doing. So plugin is focused. And so what's happening is tab is not working, and that's on purpose because then we can actually close this. Because otherwise what would happen is if I did not have that set up, it would do this. And you would keep going through all your windows and you would miss one. So right now a plugin is focused, we can close that plugin. You can see if I hold it down, it's just going to keep tabbing, so plugin focused. And so I have this set up where it's just going to keep tabbing until a plugin is focused. Once it's focused, tab will no longer work, and then you can hit escape, all right? Escape does not close anything except for plugins. That's how I have it set up, all right? Just for you to get a nice, good workflow. Let's quickly look at the instructions here for the presets, okay? So let's just do a quick recap. So if you're using the preset version, so you install this one, what that does is it changes the drum pads, and then in FL Studio, you also have to set up Oxygen Pro as plugins. If you're just using the default one, you can just put this on generic, okay? But let's put it back to the plugins. So here is the drum pad layout. As you can see, I've tried to make it pretty straightforward. So these are the first 8 drum pads. So this is 0 right here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, and 6. Don't worry about the numbers. Again, I just did that as I was coding it. So here we have previous preset, or it goes back in the mixer or the channel rack. So for example, here it is. It goes back, right? Or if we're in the mixer, it just goes back. And again, you can hold it down. This only works in certain things. So 1 and 2, these two, they are just going forward and back, or they're changing a preset, all right? Number 2 is selecting the preset. It's essentially just like enter. Oh, also, I'll share this one with you. I didn't do that one yet. So if you're on the mixer, I also have enter set up where you can actually disable and turn on the effects. I thought that would be kind of pretty cool for when you're mixing, right? If you're mixing, many times turning off the plugins and on the plugins is a really good way to test kind of like a before and after. So you actually have to have plugins on. So let's just say we open up like a Fruity Chorus. So you can see we can do this, and it can turn it off and on, different inserts, and you can do that. The next one, so this is close. So this button right here is close, right? So even though it says number 3, it started from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So this one is close, and it's only doing plugin windows. So I put an asterisk right here, and then I explained further this asterisk. And this is just because of the limitation of opening up plugins from the mixer just for the time being. So I'm really excited when FL Studio does release this into the MIDI scripting, code, that we would be able to really get hands on, and we can actually select saying like, do you know what? I want to open up Pro MB, and then we can simply close it and then again get hands on, because again, how I have all these different third-party plugins set up, I can get hands on mixing right away, because if you look up here, I have what's called global links. If you don't know about global links and project links, check out my video. It's totally free. It's called project links versus global links. But again, so watch, I can close this. Let's say I wanted to go to the Pro L2. So I open that up, and you can see that I can get hands on mixing right away. But right now, how it works is this one goes back. So it's going to open up the classic clipper, then it'll open up the Pro MB. But watch, if I hit the forward pad, it's going to go back to the classic clipper, back to the Pro L2, and then now it's going to open up the Pro C2. So this one goes forward through the plugins, this one goes back, but you can see that all of the plugins become open, which is kind of annoying. And one other feature, which I wish was in the MIDI scripting, is Alt and F12. So if all these are open, watch this. If I go Alt F12, it'll close all the plugin windows, which is also a cool workaround, but that's not able to be set up from a drum pad yet. All right, so number 4, which is this one right here, this one does the left menu in some third-party plugins. For example, if we are in Nexus and right here, so this goes to your different menus, okay? Or what it does is it opens the previous mixer channel plugin, and then same with number 5, it goes to the right menu or it opens the next, just like I was sharing here. Let's say we go back. So again, this one is opening up the next plugin. So it starts at Pro C, it's going to go to Pro MB, it's going to go to Classic Clipper. Now, if I hit the other button, it's going to work its way back. So it's going to go back to Pro MB, back to Pro C2, and then now if I hit this again, it goes to Pro L2. Again, it would be nice to be able to hit Alt F12 to close that from a pad. And then number 9, which is this one right here, it's just unused. And because the reason I set that up is because sometimes I'd hit it and it would play a note, you know, and sometimes it was just kind of annoying. So I totally just disabled this button. Okay. And again, I don't use drum pads for making beats. I use my keys and I like the transport buttons. And then I thought, well, we could just use these drum pads as like navigation, which is kind of working out pretty powerfully. And then number 6, this tab's right. So it's no different than hitting your keyboard tab because it goes right, but until a plugin is focused. And then we use 3, which is to close. And again, let me just share that with you. So let's just say we open up all these different plugins. How this is working is you can see tab is not working. And again, right now, always look here. It's always going to tell you what's going on. Let me hit the arrow to focus the channel rack. And you can see that if I hold down the arrow, it actually says channel rack up here, right? So this is the channel rack. Hold down this one. This one is the mixer. So if you hold down the button, it'll kind of guide you through if it does something. So you can see these ones in the channel rack do nothing. Same with this one right here. This one is tabbing right. So it's going to keep tabbing right until a plugin is focused. See, a plugin is focused now. So I can close out of that. Let's say we go up channel rack, down channel rack. Again, this one is enter. So there's channel sampler open. And then here is close generator because a generator is different than a plugin window. And then here's this, we have close plugin. And the reason I do that is just for actually even just debugging as I was doing things. I just wanted to know what's, when we're pushing a button, what's actually happening. And then here's your last arrows. All right, so one's the channel rack and then one is the mixer. All right, so let's just do a quick recap of everything that you get if you have purchased my M Audio Oxygen Pro Premium template, okay? So again, here is the instructions. I highly recommend reading through them. So this is everything that you get. You get the free MIDI script. This one is for free. It is on the ImageLine forums. I've included it just for convenience. It will always be up to date with what's out there publicly, okay? That one gets installed in the MIDI in 3. You also get the Premium MIDI Script if you've purchased, and that one goes on the Oxygen Pro. Again, the Premium one is only for the preset version of the template. You also get 2 Oxygen Pro template styles. So you get the preset version, which is right here, which requires the Premium MIDI Script, or there's just the default if you don't want to be using your drum pads and stuff like that. I've also left you guys some helpful resources for how to install a MIDI script. This is my up and running, kind of getting started with the Oxygen Pro series. You can watch those, tons of free videos in there. And here's also my review. And then here is all the installation stuff, okay? The next thing that you guys get, so here is the MIDI scripts. Again, here is instructions for how to install the MIDI script. Again, all you have to do is just drag this folder into this location. So it is Documents, ImageLine, FL Studio, Settings, Hardware, okay? And all you have to do is just click and drag the folder in here, and then it looks just like this, okay? Again, you can just delete this one if you're just using the default one, but it's a very, very small file size, and it doesn't work unless you actually enable it, okay? So let's close out of that and go back. So again, here is the presets. So again, click here to learn more about how these presets work. I have told you about the drum pads, and then here is more info about, so if you want to learn more about the project links and global links, I also left you that link. Very, very useful to know how to set up your knobs and sliders. And then here's the default version, and here is my contact information. And then here is the preset version. So again, when we are installing these, make sure that you actually are installing it into the proper preset editor. Again, the 49 and the 61 use the same file, but make sure to use the 49 preset editor for the 49 and then the 61 for the 61. So these are the presets to change the drum pads. This one is the one that you guys, essentially this one is version 1, this one is version 2, okay? So if you guys have any questions, you guys can visit me at itsgratuitous.com. This is my M Audio Oxygen Pro Premium template. This is on version 2. I hope you guys enjoy it. I was aiming to get more hands-on for you guys. My goal of the Oxygen Pro is not to get it like all super customized, like mapped, just to improve our workflow. And I think that this would really help us to change presets fast, allows us to quickly open up VSTs. And then again, if you want hands-on, you can set up your project links or global links. And it just kind of adds to that FL Studio hands-on workflow. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy if you have purchased.